welcome to my live stream. How was the day? How you all doing? Happy weekend to you. Please, as usual, let me know where you're watching from, where you're joining the live stream from, and also if you have your question, drop it in the comments below. Ask your questions. This live stream is question and answer. So if you have any question, drop your question. So before I start attending to your questions, one of my viewers sent me a message on WhatsApp concerning his system that after charging, that is during the day, if he connects his laptop, the system cannot even carry just the laptop alone, cannot carry that laptop for even 30 minutes. So I have to ask him a few questions. The type of battery he's using is 100 amps hour battery, 12 volt 100 amps hour battery. Then he's using 250 watt solar panel, one. Then 1000 watts modified sine wave inverter and a PWM charge controller. So in the day, he will expect that the solar panel will generate the energy and store in the battery so that he can use. But when he connects his laptop, it will not even last for up to 30 minutes. The system will shut down. Mr. Abubakar Razak, good evening, sir. You're watching me from Niger State, Nigeria. Thanks. Happy weekend to you. Welcome to my live stream, Mr. Abubakar. Please, those of you who are just joining, please let me know where you're watching from, and please drop your questions so that I can attend to those questions. So, like I said, before I attend to the question, there's an issue I want to address as regards, solar installation. So this person that sent me a message on WhatsApp is having issues with his system. One 100 amps hour battery, 12 volts, one 250 watt solar panel, one 1000 watts 12 volts inverter, and a PWM charge controller. So the system is not charging. So he was asking for a solution and what could be the possible cost. Now, the cause of that, why the system is not charging, is because it's using a high voltage solar panel on a 12 volt system. I've told you that if you are using a PWM charge controller, don't use big panels like from 200 watts that are 24 volts panel. Don't use them to charge a 12 volts battery. That battery will not charge. It will not charge. If you connect that battery from morning till evening, even if the intensity of sunshine is high, the PWM charge controller will not be able to make use of that 250 watt solar panel to charge your 12 volts battery, whether it is 100 amps hour, 150 amps hour, or 200 amps hour battery. So he was asking for solution. There are two solutions or two options. Number one, it is either he use a 12 volt panel, like 100 watts panel, 150 watts panel, or 100. Sorry, my this thing just went off. I'm coming. Just hold on. Let me put on my lights. Wow. What happened? Please just hold on. All right, so sorry, it has been raining for some days now, so I don't have enough sunshine. So sorry. So what I was saying is that I believe you can hear me from there. All right. So what I was saying is that if you're using a 12-volt system, don't use high voltage panels because they won't be able to charge that battery. So the option is that if you already have this kind of setup and your battery is not charging because you are using a high voltage solar panel, please change that solar panel to maybe 100 watts, 150 watt, or 180 watt. 12 volt, use a 12-volt panel because it's a 12-volt system. Or you get an MPPT charge controller because an MPPT charge controller can take the high voltage and convert that high voltage, step it down to charge your battery bank. So this is what you should take note of. That is the mistake that many people do. You go and get a 12-volt battery and you go and buy 250 watt panel, 500, some even using 500 watt panel to charge a 12-volt battery bank. That battery bank will not charge. It will not charge. You are just wasting the energy during the day because as the solar panel is receiving the sun, it can't, the PWM charge controller cannot convert that high voltage, cannot step down that high voltage to charge your battery bank. So the MPPT charge controller can receive high voltage from the solar panel, step it down to charge your battery bank. So be very mindful when you are buying your solar components, or if you have an installer that want to, you call the person to install your system, and you are using a 12-volt battery, and the person is telling you you can use 300 watt panel, 400 watts panel. That panel will not charge your battery. So be careful of that. So thanks all of you for joining my live broadcast. I have Mr. Silingela. Good evening, sir. You're watching me from South Africa. Mr. Caleb Raking. Good evening, sir. I'm Caleb, watching from Nnewi in Anambra State. Mr. Polo, you're watching from Mozambique. And Mr. Dominic Philip, good evening. I am watching from Kaduna, that is in Nigeria. My question is, I am using that is, you're using two pieces of 230 amps hour 12-volt battery connected in series and a 3.2 kilowatt MOS inverter at 2 bars, which is like 50%. It will start to beep low battery. Why? Check the loads you are connecting to that battery. Check the loads. Maybe you are overloading the inverter or your batteries are not good. So check your load. This is 3.2 kilowatt. So check the loads you are connecting to the battery bank. And you are having two pieces of 230 amps hour battery. You said they are connected in series. So you have 24 volts, 230 amps hour. So check the loads you are using. Check your loads, the loads you are using. If the loads you are using, they are heavy appliances, it means they will be draining the battery very fast. But if the loads are not much, then you have to check the strength of your batteries. You can test the strength of your batteries after connecting loads to the inverter. Then you use the multimeter, test the individual voltage of the batteries. Maybe one of the battery in the battery bank is bad, so you can test the individual voltage when you connect heavy loads on them. Then Mr. Guru Tech, you're watching from me from Niger State, Nigeria. Mr. Joseph Ubi, Guru Tech, how do we connect? I am in Niger State. Okay. Mr. Joseph Ubi and Guru Tech, both of you are in Niger State, so you can connect. Then Mr. Dominic Philip, thank you. My load is like 0.25 kilowatt. That is 250 watts. That is the consumption, 250 watts. How long are you using those loads? Like how many hours are you using those loads per day? How many hours? Please check. How many hours are you using the loads per day? Sorry, my light just went off. I have bad weather throughout this week. It has been raining. I'm in a rain forest region, Nigeria, so we're having a lot of rain these days. We barely have sunshine for even 1 hour. We don't, and we don't have. I'm completely off grid. So, Mr. Peter Uja, I am watching from Kenya. Wow, good evening. Thanks for joining my live stream. Please drop your questions before I move to the next one. And Mr. Dominic, I'm waiting for your response. You said your load is 0.25 kilowatts. That is 250. That's about 250 watts. So how many hours are you using this load per day? Your battery bank is 24 volt, 230 amps hour. That is the size of your battery bank. So it is 24 multiplied by 230. You're having 5,520 watts hour. That is the capacity of your battery bank, the energy storage of your battery bank. So let me know how many hours you're using those loads. Okay, it lasts like 5 hours before beeping. After the beeping, when I restart the system, it will continue to work. So for 5 hours, if you're using 250 watt loads for 5 hours, 250 multiplied by 5, you're having 1,250. 1,000. Excuse me. Okay, you're having 1,250 watts hour per day, and your total battery bank capacity is 230 multiplied by 24 is 5,520 watt hour. So this divide by 1,250. You're overstressing it. So if you divide it by 1,250, means the system is supposed to last you for like 4 hours. So check your loads. Check your loads. You're using 250 watts. And that 250 watts, you're using it for 5 hours. So if you multiply 250 by 5, it will give you 1,250 watts hour. And the capacity of your battery bank is 5,520 watts hour. If you divide it by what you're consuming, 1,000, that is at 100. You are even draining your battery bank at 100% DOD. So it will only last for 4 hours. So check your loads. Okay, Mr. Who again? Neil Sutherland. Depot. I don't understand. Mr. Muhammadi, I'm watching from Uganda. Thanks for joining. You're watching me all the way from Uganda. I want to fully charge 100 amps hour battery. How much watt peak for panel I need? Consider 5 hours. Okay, it is a 12 volts it is a 12 volts battery. Is it lithium? Is it sealed or flooded? Let me know, Mr. Muhammadi. Let me know. It's a 12 volt battery. What type of battery? Sealed, flooded, or lithium? Then Mr. Joseph Ubisa, do you have a training school? For now, I don't have. I'm just doing online for now. I have online training. I have some students I train online, but I don't have physical training for now. I'm trying to establish my workshop where I'll have everything so that if you come for practical training, you get the full training. So for now, I only offer what's it called, online training. You'll be in the south by next month. I don't offer physical training. Mr. Dominic, oh, okay, thank you. Okay, so okay, it is a sealed battery. So if it is a sealed battery, we are going to use 50% DOD so that you not destroy the battery. So if we have 1,200, okay, your battery is 100 amps hour, and the voltage of that battery is 12 volts. So the first thing is for us to calculate what's it called? The energy storage, which is 12 volts multiplied by 100 amps hour, which will give us 1200 watts hour. This is the same as 1.2 kilowatts hour. So we are using 50% DOD. So we will multiply 1200 by 0.5. I don't know if you are following. 1200 multiplied by 0.5 will give us 600 watts hour. 600 watts hour. So your peak sun hours is 5. So what we are going to do next is that we are dividing this 600 by 0.65, which is the performance ratio, or 65%. 0.65 will give us 923 watts hour. The next thing is that we are dividing by the peak sun hours, which is 5 hour. So the hour will cancel. We will have 923 divided by 5 will give us 184 watts. So you can use 2 pieces of 100 watts solar panel, or 1 piece of 190, 180, or or 200 watt panel. But it should be 12 volts. We have 200 watts panel that are 12 volts panel. So if you can get a 200 watts panel that is 12 volts, you can use it. But if you don't have it, you can use 2 pieces of 100 watts panel, or 1 piece that is 1 of 180 watts solar panel. Mr. Dominic, you're using tubular batteries. I think I'm through with your own. Your energy consumption is high. That is why it can only carry you for that number of hours. It will be beeping. So your batteries will die fast. The lifespan of your batteries will not be long. Mr. Dominic, you're following. So we are done with you, I'm done with you, Mr. Dominic. You need, if you can get 1 single unit of 200 watts panel, but it should be 200, sorry, it should be a 12 volt panel, because it's a small system. So you can use, what's it called? You can use a PWM charge controller. So you use just a single unit of 200 watts solar panel, or you use 2 pieces of 100 watts panel, or 2 pieces of 80 watts solar panel. But I prefer you go for either 100 watts panel, or you use 1 unit of 180 watts solar panel. If you can get the 200 watt panel that is 12 volts, you can use it. Mr. Guru Tech, I have a 100 amps hour lithium battery with 80 amp charge controller. How do I calculate and know the panel I will use to charge the battery? 100 amps hour lithium battery. What is the voltage of the battery? Let me know the voltage, please. Let me know the voltage, Mr. Guru Tech. What is the voltage of that lithium battery? I'm waiting. So let me know the voltage of the lithium battery. Mr. Guru Tech, you said it's a 12 volts battery. So still the same procedure, but your own, it will be 12 volt multiplied by 100 amps hour, which is the same as 1200 watts hour, just like we did for the sealed battery. But in your own case, our DOD that we are going to use here will be 80%, which is 0.8. So if we take 0.8, 1200, 1200 divide 0.8, this will give us, sorry, not divide, multiply, sorry. 1200 multiplied by 0.8, it will give us 960 watts hour. What is the peak sun hours in your location, Mr. Guru Tech? What is the peak sun hours in your location? Mr. Williams said, well done, bro. Thanks very much, sir. Thank you, sir. I'm grateful. What is the peak sun hours, Mr. Guru Tech? I don't know if you can hear me. Okay, 5 hours. That's good. So we have 960 divided by 0.65, which is our performance ratio, We have 1,477 approximately 477 watt hour. So divide 1,477 divide by 5. By 5, your peak sun hours is 5, which is 295.4. We'll round it up to 295. 295 watts. 295 watts. And your charge controller is 80 amps. Is it MPPT or PWM? Let me tell you how the size of solar panel you use. Your charge controller that is 80 amps, is it PWM or MPPT charge controller? Please, those of you who are joining, let me know where you're watching from, and also like the video. That's the live stream, and also drop your questions. Okay, you have an MPPT charge controller, and we have 295. So you can use a single unit of 300 watt solar panel because you are using MPPT. So even if that the solar panel, the open circuit voltage is maybe 40 volts, 36 volts, or whatever, you can connect it to that charge controller. But you have to know the minimum voltage, the minimum input DC input voltage. The minimum PV input voltage of that solar charge controller. The minimum. If the minimum is maybe 40 volts, for example, it means that that single unit of 300 watt panel will not be good. So you should go for, you can use what's it called? You can use 2 pieces of 150 watts or 180 watt solar panel. Use 2 pieces, connect them in series, send it to the charge controller, and connect it to your battery bank. It will charge that 12 volts battery. So check the minimum, which is like the starting voltage of that charge controller. So from the minimum, if the minimum is like 40 or 30 something volts, you have to use 2 units of 180 watt solar panel. 2 units of 180 or 190 watts. What you are having, let's see, 295 divide 180. Okay, you need 2 units because you need 2 units. 2 units will be okay for you. Or you use a single unit of, because what you have here is 295, so you can approximate it to 300 watts. You can use 2 pieces of 150 watt, between 150 watt to maybe 200 watt, depending on your budget. Or you use a single unit of 300 watts. But if you are using a single unit of 300 watt, look at the minimum PV input voltage of the charge controller. Mr. Muhammadi, is there any special consideration we have to put into account when sizing systems containing fridges and air conditioner, or we just consider the wattage? Yes, you have special consideration if they are not, you have special consideration if the refrigerator and the air conditioner have what we have called starting power or surge power. You know, they need a high amount of power to start. So you take that power into consideration to size an inverter that will be able to withstand that starting power or that surge power. If the inverter cannot withstand that starting or surge power, when you switch on those appliances, the inverter will shut down because it cannot withstand the starting power or surge power of those appliances. So that is what you have to take into consideration. And also, your battery bank and the size of cables you're using should be high enough to withstand the starting current or surge current that those appliances will be drawing when you put them on. It normally lasts for like about 5 seconds. Is it 5 seconds or 5 milliseconds? So you have to take it into consideration. When they are drawing that current, the cables and the inverter and the battery bank should be able to withstand, else everything will shut down. All right. Okay, these are all the questions we have for now. I don't know if We have other questions. This is a question and answer session. So I'm depending solely on the questions you ask. So any question you ask, I will try my possible best to give you an answer. So the last question here is from Mohammadi. It's from Mohammadi Sali. So I don't know if you have further questions or we call it a day. This is weekend so that you can enjoy your weekend. Mr. Isioma Odigwe, how far, bro? I'm good, sir. You're welcome to the live stream. I'm good, sir. Thanks for joining the live stream. I'm good. Still waiting for more questions. If I wait till like 30 minutes, the live broadcast is 26 minutes now. If it gets to 30 minutes and there's no question, then we'll call it a day and we'll continue another day. Probably you don't have much questions, but those of you who are just joining, I was from the beginning of the live stream, I told you that one of you have an issue just watching me online, and he sent me a message on my WhatsApp to rectify the issue for him, that his system cannot even power his laptop for up to 30 minutes. And the problem was not far-fetched. He's using a 250 watt solar panel on on a PWM charge controller. That 250 watt solar panel is a high voltage panel. That is, the voltage is higher than a 12 volt system. So you cannot use that voltage to charge a 12 volt system. So I advise him to change the panel to either 100 watts or 180 watt. That is to 12 volts panel, or he gets an MPPT charge controller. That is the solution. Because if you connect that 250 watt panel to that battery bank, it will not charge from morning till now. Even if the intensity of sun is high, it will not charge. So let me take this last question. I have 4. That is from Mr. Saki Silingela. Please don't be offended if I pronounce your name wrongly. I have 4 pieces of 12 volts, 100 amps hour sealed lead acid batteries connected in parallel and 100 amps MPPT charge controller. How much solar power do I need to get the batteries fully charged? Okay. Let's check the energy storage of the battery bank. You have 4 pieces. All of them, you said all of them are connected in what? Connected in parallel. So you have 100 multiplied by 4. So what you are having is 12 volts, 400 amps hour battery bank. That is what you are having. So let's look at the energy storage. 12 multiplied by 400. So what you are having is 4,800 watts hour. 4,800 watts hour. So you want to know the number of panels. Please, what is the peak sun hours in your location? If you don't give me, I will choose anyone. Then you can do the calculation from there. So if you have 4,800 and your battery is sealed, so it will be 4,800 multiplied by, we are using 0.5 as your DOD, multiplied by 0.5 because it is a sealed battery. So you have 2,400 watt hour at 50% DOD. You can decide to change it to 60%, to 70, or to 80%. But if you increase the DOD, the lifespan of your battery will be reduced. So we are using 2,400. So this 2,400 divided by performance ratio of 0.65 will give us 3,692 watt hour. So divide by your peak sun hours. You say your peak sun hours is 6. So we have, sorry, I'm using a light sensor. We have 3,692 divide by 6 hours. We have 615 watt hour. That is divide by your peak sun hours. So if we are to use, let's say 200 watt solar panels, it will be 615 divided by 200. This will give us 3. So you need 3 pieces of 200 watt solar panels connected in series, because your this thing is MPPT. Your solar charge controller is MPPT. So you can connect the solar panels in series. You said you're using 100 amps MPPT. You can connect your solar panels in series. So at 50% DOD, but if you want to increase the DOD to, say, you want to discharge it at 100%, it means you need 6 units of 200 watt solar panels. At 60%, at 50%, you need 3 units. So if you want to completely discharge the battery at 100% DOD, you will need 6 units of 200 watt solar panels. Mr. Mohammed, okay, sir, noted. Does the considerations only affect the inverter sizing, or we incorporate them in our total load as well? Mostly those loads, so long as you know their daily energy consumption. If you know their daily energy consumption, you know the surge power, starting power, you take it into consideration when sizing the inverter. But after sizing the inverter and you size your battery bank, you have to also look at the surge current, that is the starting current. From your starting power, you can know the surge current, that is the amount of current it will be drawing from that battery bank. So check the capacity of your battery bank, if it will be able to withstand. If it can withstand, then you have to increase the capacity of your battery bank. But if your total daily energy consumption is okay and you follow those procedures, because you will be taking into consideration some safety factors like the, what's it called, the temperature compensation factor, the inverter efficiency, the days of autonomy, the DOD, all those things, they are increasing the size of the battery bank. So definitely it will be able to handle. But you have to, like I said, look at the surge current. After knowing the starting power, you can know the surge current. Then you can use your clamp meter. If you connect that load to AC power, you can use your your clamp meter to know the surge current, the inrush current, and you can use it to size your system properly. Mr. Isioma Odigwe, how do you size battery bank fuses breaker from battery bank to inverter? I have a video on that. Please check the videos on my channel. I have a video on how to size breakers. You will see it there. Hi, how to calculate panel solar without battery? I don't understand. Mr. Mohammed Said, how can I calculate panel solar without battery? That is, I don't know, maybe you're using that system without, what's it called? Without a battery bank. If you're using a grid tie inverter, it means you don't need a battery bank. So what you look at is your loads. You look at your loads. It means you're going to use those loads only during the day when there's sun. So you have to match those loads with your solar panels, the capacity of your solar panels. So the principle is what the solar panels are producing should be higher than what you are consuming. Should be higher than what you are consuming. And that will be higher when you take into consideration all those performance ratio, safety factor, take into account losses. When you put all those things in together, you see that the size of your solar panel will be higher than the loads you are consuming. So if you are using your system without a backup, without a battery bank, it means you won't have light in the night unless you have power from the grid or the generator. So if there's no power from the grid, there's no generator, it means you won't have anything to sustain or to power your loads. So the essence of the battery bank is for backup. So if you don't need a battery bank, it means you don't need backup. You can only use your appliances during the day when the sun is available. Like we have solar water pumps. They only run in the afternoon when the sun is available. So you can use the size. What you just do is you take the size of the load, then you size the solar panels from there. using performance ratio. Then you can size the solar panels. How long will be safer to upgrade the battery bank and solar panels if it was planned in the first place while sizing with MPPT suitable solar charge controller? After how long will it be safer to upgrade? If you install your system today and you want to upgrade maybe by next month, it all depends on your budget when you can upgrade. But when you're upgrading, where you should be mindful of is your batteries. Don't mix old batteries with new batteries. If you have used them for more than 6 months and even 3 months, if you are deeply discharging those batteries, they will become old batteries. So if you connect them to the new batteries, they will kill the new batteries fast. The new batteries will die fast. So that is what you have to take into consideration. Don't mix old batteries with new batteries. So when you talk about upgrading a system, it all depends on your pocket. It all depends on your budget and when you have the strength to upgrade and to add. So when you're adding, if you're adding batteries, know that you're also going to add solar panels because you're increasing the capacity of the battery bank. So you are going to add panels that will be able to generate the energy that will be stored in that battery bank. Then if your loads, you also increase your loads, then you look at the size of your inverter. If your inverter cannot carry the loads you are going to add, it means you need an additional inverter. But when you are connecting or when you want to add inverters, there are inverters that you cannot parallel. Then there are some that have parallel feature. That is, you can parallel them. I have a video. If you check that video where I said breakers, when you say breakers, is the same thing as in the method you use in sizing breakers is the same method you use in sizing fuses. They are all OCPDs. We call them overcurrent protection devices. So it's the same method you use in sizing them. Once you know the maximum current and the continuous current draw from the PV side of the system, you can use that current to size both the breaker and the fuse. So it's the same procedure. Check the video where you see where I size breakers. It's both for OCPD, other OCPDs. You said the only breaker you have seen is a solar panel breaker to charge controller. No, watch the video full. I size the inverter side of the system and the PV side of the system. Watch the video to the end. You'll see it. For the PV side of the system, I use a safety factor of 1.56. For the inverter side of the system, I use a safety factor of 1.2, 1.25. So check. Mr. Emmanuel, my total consumption is around 3,500 watts in 8 hours. What is the size of battery, panels, and the inverter I will need in such a situation? I will only size the size, I will only give you the size of battery bank that you need. So your load is, what's it called? Coming. Your load is 3,500 watts and you want to use it for 8 hours. That is very high. 3,500 multiplied by 8. That is your runtime hours. You are having 28,000 watts hour, which is 28 kilowatt hour per day. So you have 28,000 watts hour. So divide this by the inverter efficiency of 0.9. This is divide 0.9. It will give us 31,111 watt hour. So we divide this again by temperature compensation factor of 0.9. So if we divide 31,111 divide by 0.9, this will give us 34,568 watt hour. Then we multiply by days of autonomy. For here, I will use 1 day of autonomy. But if you want 2 days of autonomy, it will be 34,000 multiplied by 2, which will be about 68,000 watt hour. But let's use 1 day of autonomy. So if we use 1 day of autonomy, it will still be 34,568 watt hour. So the next thing is that we are dividing by DOD. For this kind of consumption, I'll advise you go for a lithium battery. So we divide by 0.8. That's the depth of discharge. The recommended DOD for lithium batteries, 34,568 divided by 0.8 will give us 43,000 43,210 watt hour. If we divide by the voltage system, 43,210 divided by 48 is 900 amps hour. That is 48 volts, 900 amps hour. Now, if you are using a lithium battery, it will be 43.2 kilowatt hour. So let's assume we are using should we take 12.5 kilowatt hour? You need more than, if it is 15 kilowatt, 15 multiplied by 3 is 45. Okay, you need 3 pieces of 15 kilowatt lithium battery, 48 volts each, 3 pieces. Your daily energy consumption is high. You're having 3,500 watts and you want to run these loads for 8 hours per day. So you need 3 units of 15 kilowatt lithium batteries at 48 volts. All right, that is the much I can size. If you want further guidance, check my YouTube channel. You'll see my WhatsApp link for further consultation. So you need 3 units, like I said, of 3 pieces of 15 kilowatt lithium battery. So Mr. Isioma Odigwe, okay, thanks. I believe you're satisfied. Just check that video on breakers, you'll understand. So thanks for joining my live broadcast, my live stream, and I believe we have been able to share our knowledge, and thanks very much. I'm very much grateful for joining this live broadcast. Sorry for the poor lighting, like I told you. In fact, for like 7 days now, we have not had a good sunshine. The sun has not been steady for like up to 1 hour. So the solar is not charging as expected because we are relying solely on the sun. The power from the grid, they are not always reliable. We can stay for 1 month without having power from the grid. So we are relying solely on the solar system. So since there is rain, if you want to size the solar system for 7 days of autonomy, that is big money. Or 3 days of autonomy is big money. So sorry for the poor lighting. In the next one, I will make sure the lighting is okay. So thanks, and do have a wonderful and lovely night rest. Remain blessed. God bless you, and thanks for joining. Good night.